wherever you start, you're going to find ways to elevate and a lot of learnings from that. Start somewhere, let that work really translate into something meaningful. But you also need to find yourself before you know, like you need to know, okay, cool, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to go about it. And then it's like, okay, cool. Once you have some type of like track record, then it's like, yo, man, I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Okay, cool. I see what you're doing. Like, I can feel that I can contribute to this in this way.
From Corner Judah and De Beer, Imune Msindis Wesi, Umvelisen Melis Wesijwe, formerly known as Wazima Donsel, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture, but also formalize the street hustle.
Let's go. Corner Judah and De Beer, special edition, very, very special edition, brought to you by the good folks at Yoco, home for the brave. I think we got the bravest one. I think if the culture had to have a 30 and a 30, you should have been the poster child. As you say, man, how you doing?
Easy vibes, man.
Yo, man, like, I think your story is probably the longest story for any kid born post-95.
Yeah.
Because you came in selling sneakers, you've been in the trade business, then you sold culture, then you were like, I'm doing so well at this, let me sell product to culture.
Yeah.
How's that journey been?
Bro, it's a journey. Like, it's crazy. Like, so many ups and downs. And you just look at it and it's like, yo, man, whatever you're creating is so much bigger than yourself. So that's the thing that like really keeps you going and keeps you alive.
What gave you that bravery? Because a lot of us have these ideas like, yo, man, if I sell these cakes, I have people actually buying these cakes. What gives you that bravery to continue to build on your initial idea?
I mean, I think it's like, because I mean, I think if you look at my journey, like the one thing is like, it's consistent, you know? And like, I always look at this thing, it's like, the growth is organic over time, you know? But a lot of the things that like really keeps me going, it's like, I see how things are run in different areas of the world. And then I look at like South Africa and I'm like, wait, we can be doing the same thing, if not better, because also, yeah, there's a lot of talent, you know, but not enough opportunity. So like, for me, it's like, I know what it feels like when you have that talent, but you literally knocking against a door that's not opening, you know? So it's always looking at like, yo, how do you kind of move past that space? So for me, it was always just like, yo, I think like one is like connecting with people that like kind of understand your vision. And then it's like, okay, cool, you stick to that kind of group. And then from there, you kind of move. But a lot of times it's a lot of risk, bro. Like you don't know exactly how this thing is going to pan out. A lot of faith, which is very important in like how you move and how you grow. Because the stuff that we're also doing, it's like, there wasn't really a blueprint to this. You know, now people are looking at like my journey and my story as a blueprint to how to move and how to kind of grow. So it's like, you always realize like, yo, this thing is so much bigger than yourself. And that's what really keeps you alive and keeps you going.
How do you stay dedicated and committed? Because you're facing these hurdles, like you're a young entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're trying to sell, you're trying to export culture, you're trying to sell product.
Yeah.
How do you stay dedicated and committed to the cause?
Like I think it's always knowing that like end goal, you know, like you see, okay, cool, this is where I want this thing to go. So for me, in terms of like grade or whatever, like I'm looking at this thing as I want this thing to be seen on a global scale, but representation of South Africa and Africa at whole. So whether that means like from the designs, one, from a product perspective, but then also from the people that we work with in that space, whether it's like photographers, whether it's all of these kind of people that's there. So I think a lot of times it's like, how do we continue growing people? And it kind of sources from like a people space. And then that will tie into like everything else. So once you believe in like humans to like kind of move this thing further, that's where it will really like, you'll feel that energy and feel that pace.
Speaking of humans and this idea of community, how do you cultivate community? Like how do you start? Like, yo, there's a person, these are the people with me. How does one start out? Because as you've become the blueprint, I'm sure you've had moments to reflect, say, oh, actually, this is how this connected. This is how this came about for me.
Yeah. I think it's definitely about relationships, you know? So for me, it's like, who are people that are going to do stuff for you without needing to pay them, for example, when you're starting out? So for me, it was like when I started Sneaker Exchange or even Lost Property, like back in the day, you know, I was importing shoes and stuff from the States. So when that was happening, then there's like an audience that I have now, right? So whether it's artists or whoever I'm selling to. So now it's like, I remember the first one, for example, like one of the first leak exchanges, I think it was like the second or third event, we wanted like a performance in the space. And at the time, like AKA and Les were going, they were big, you know. All of the, like, they were the, you know, the shit like really moving, you know. And I wanted Les at the event, but I would always sell Les shoes. So I'm like, yo, bro, like, I need you to perform at this event. I'll cover your flights, but here's like 2-3 pairs of shoes. And he pulled up, you know. So it's like, then it's like, okay, cool. You know, then, okay, cool. This dude is in your corner. So that's how you build with him. And then you also like see ways of like, bro, this is what I'm trying to build. This community around sneakerheads and like sneaker culture and all of this type of stuff. And then from there, you look at like, yo, these are people that you have on your side that's like assets to what you're trying to do. And then you look at it like, okay, cool, this is what I can offer you. I can't necessarily afford your rate, but let's build like this. And then that community kind of grows of people that genuinely see your vision of like, yo, we're actually trying to build it into something. And then it eventually gets into a space where it's like, okay, cool, you know, we've now kind of built this property or we've now aligned with sponsors. You don't forget about it. You're like, yo, okay, cool. How do we now bring you back into the space? How do we now bring other people into the space that will also kind of curate this kind of culture, sneaker culture that we're trying to grow? So, I mean, I think a lot of times it's about relationships, and there's always been like, I guess something that I was always able to offer to the table in terms of like, yo, I can get you this product, or let me just import this thing for you at card store, you know, all of those type of things that you would build on. And then it's like that kind of market also expands because now people are looking at you like, yo, that's the plug to get the sneakers, that's the plug to get us the drip and all of these things. And oftentimes these people are seeing stuff on music videos, they're seeing stuff like on the internet that they don't necessarily have access to. So then it's like, that's kind of how kind of the community kind of curated it in the early days. And then you kind of look at it and like from that, it's okay, cool. Now there's a bigger kind of pool. It's like, yo, who's pushing stuff forward? Who's kind of moving with these things? Cool, this dude is doing cool stuff. Let's see how we align to that. And it's crazy because like over the span, those people also change. You know, like some people lose relevancy. And then it's like, okay, cool. Like now you need to know when to kind of look at like the new age, look at like the new kind of spaces. So I think it's always just like being on top of it, you know, like, and now it's like even in the age, because like for me, I came in being the youngest kid kind of in these spaces. Yeah. You know, when I came really into it, I was like 15, 16. Like I was still in high school selling sneakers to school. And at that time, it's like, yo, you kind of in these spaces as this youngin into the space. Like the first time I came to Joburg, it was like street cred. I think it was like 2010 or 2011. I was in high school, you know, and it's like telling my parents, yo, I'm flying to Joburg to go to this event. It's like completely foreign. But then when you come in this side, you're like, wait, there's like potential to kind of build. There's like, you know, really like new people that you're meeting. And then it's like, wait, this is actually what I'm really trying to do and really trying to push. So, yeah, I don't know where we went.
It's like, it's a beautiful story. Funny enough to mention our sponsor, Yoco. It's a beautiful story how you went from the underdog to the kid trying to sell. And then now you're the brave guy, you're the guy doing this business. How does a partner, a brand partner like Yoco, all the way, even before you built that relationship, just at the point of sale, how has that helped your business just to say, okay, cool, we can move money like this, we can use Yoco Capital, all these features that you've been able to use?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, it's always dope when it's like someone that sees you and like kind of holds you down like an older brother type thing. You know, I think that stuff is really key in terms of like, I guess, financial partners and those type of people that are there. It's kind of knowing that, okay, cool, there's a relationship that you've built or have with these brands. But in the same time, it's like, yo, they also need to understand what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build, you know? So I think a lot of times it's like, in a lot of the stuff that we do, a lot of our money comes through brand partnerships. So it's like also for them understanding like, yo, by helping this one partner, you're actually helping other people that this partner is also empowering. So it's always like with brand partners knowing that, okay, cool, it's not necessarily just like this one entity that kind of flows into different kind of spaces as well. So yeah, I mean, it's always good having those relationships and kind of looking at like how we build those relationships for them to really like also take you a lot more seriously, you know, in these spaces. Because it's like what we're trying to do hasn't necessarily been done before. We're also trying to expand this brand into a global kind of staple brand, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really just like knowing that, okay, cool, they understand the vision and really want to support you along the way.
Good. You've been moving along the way. You've been building these relationships. How's it been trying to penetrate the international market? Because we've seen you do pop-ups all around the world, literally. How's that like, the experience?
The experience is really dope and it's always very humbling. I think like when we go into these spaces, it's crazy because oftentimes it's like we're the smallest brand. No one really knows us in these spaces and they're kind of building. So that's also like a really cool thing, but because it's like you're literally building with community. So you're almost starting from the ground up.
Yeah.
And it's like, I won't lie, like the stuff that we've managed to really build in Paris is really sick. Like I really love that city a lot. And the cool thing about it is like we've also managed to kind of tap into a local audience that's there. So we're always there during like the fashion weeks, doing pop-ups, doing events and all of the stuff that we would do. But it's like we also tap into an audience that is there year round, not necessarily just for the fashion weeks. And it's honestly a lot of learning because you're in these spaces. It's like you're very much telling your brand story. And then it's like you're also not just trying to go there and do the same thing every time. So it's like you're really looking at like, yo, how do we elevate these experiences? And how do we really also do what we do there? How does that kind of tie back into SA and kind of inspire people to want to do the same thing? So it's crazy because the first time I went to Paris, I was with like a couple of guys. They've been going to Paris back and forth for years. And I stayed with them and they kind of showed me like, yo, this is their showroom, this is their spaces and all of the type of stuff. And I was like, whoa, it's kind of crazy because if you're into fashion and into that space, that's the time that all of these people are in this space.
Yes.
You know, so being able to, even if you're not doing anything, you're able to connect with people, kind of just explain to them like, yo, this is what I do. Oh, that's what you do. Okay, cool. You know, kind of like follow them, they follow you, and you kind of just like keep in touch digitally, you know, over time. And then they'll be like, oh, now you're there the next year again. Oh, shit, I met you last year. Okay, cool. You know, how's things? I've seen what you've been doing. So it's kind of like builds that kind of community around it. But then it's like, okay, cool. How do we now penetrate this? Because cool, we're spending a lot of money going there. We're spending money on
What's the ROI?
you know, kit outs and all of those type of things. And then it's like, yo, how do we get brands to help us out? How do we, you know, get people to kind of see what we're doing? When we tell them like, yo, this is what we're trying to do in Paris, they're like, we're trying to promote our brand in South Africa. You know, like, cool. This
Like
like
you build a beautiful relationship.
100%. But it was even like before that because when I think I met them in like Street Cred back in the day. They came down. And then also in Berlin, like I would see them at different spaces, and that relationship kind of just like solidified because we brought them to like Sneaker Exchange and we would run like the pop-up stores for them in South Africa. And then it was just like, yo, that's brotherhood. Like, you know, constantly just keep moving, seeing them that side. They would come back here and like, you know, really align with them. And it's just dope brothers like that. We always just like, you know, try and build, trying to connect cultures, I guess, you know. But with a lot of the spaces, it's like, yo, you also can't rely on other people, you know, like you also have to be able to put your own in, because then it's like, yo, you're just kind of piggybacking off other people's successes, which you have to actually go out there and, you know, stamp your own, you know. So with a lot of things, it's like, for me, it's like, I'm always like, yo, okay, cool. How do we build this thing from the ground up? And the reason that I would continue even going back to Paris or going back to these spaces is because it's like, for them now, they've also seen this build of like, okay, cool. You know, the first time you guys came, you rented out a couple of rails at a thrift shop to put your product on.
Yeah.
You know, then the next time that, you know, we came back, it's like, oh shit, there's, we did something with Air Afrique at the Nike space as like an AFCON viewing. So now it's like you're inviting people into the space, you're kind of hosting people into the space with kind of like a massive cosign from Nike in that space, So then they're like, okay, cool, there's something cool happening here, there's kind of cosigns that you are now building within this space, Then the next time you're like, okay, cool, we've done like a pop-up space, we have DJs that we moved with, for like a Done Delicious, Two Shoes, in that space that are brothers, it's like, we actually all trying to see how we build this thing kind of together. And then it's like that kind of concept moves also around the world into different spaces. It's like, we're trying to go to New York. Let's tap into this time around also a fashion week, let's see how we can do a pop-up. And then the crazy thing is like, cool, a lot of the stuff are planned, but there has been situations like I was in London, I think last year. When I went to London, my intention wasn't to do a pop-up. When I was in London, a brand was like, because I sent like proposals beforehand, and they were like, okay, cool, we can run with it. Now I'm in London, I'm trying to put together a pop-up that's happening in 3 weeks without any product, without a venue, without anything.
You came there as a tourist.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, cool. Like, I'm not going to say no, let me, operate. That was like the craziest thing, because now it's like, I'm there. I'm trying to, one, find product. So I'm researching, I'm like, where do I get blanks from? Because it's like, cool, we're going to produce hoodies, we're going to produce tees, hats, all of these things. Beforehand, it's like I had a couple of like vinyl stuff that I had. And this is actually the craziest story because, it's crazy. Like, it's wild. But I was like, cool, researching online, where do I get blanks? Cool, found one supplier, you need a wholesale account. I'm like, okay, let's see how to register this thing, register all the details of all of my South African details, Okay, this is going to get back to me in 24 hours. And the crazy thing is, this may be like Sunday, the pop-up is happening Friday. Right?
You have 4 working days,
bro,
to be ready.
So now I'm like, okay, cool. Boom. Monday morning comes, wholesale account approved. Okay, shut. I'm looking at the items. I'm like, okay, cool. There's some dope shit here, organic cotton hoodies, some dope tees. I'm like, all right, you know what? Like, let me peep it. I'm like, okay, cool. Order like a bunch of stuff. Cool. They say, okay, cool. There's 24-hour shipping or collection. Yeah. I'm like, actually, the shipping cost is kind of expensive because it was like somewhere else in the UK. I'm like, okay, cool. How do I go and get it? So I'm like, okay, cool. It's like a hour and a half train ride. I'm like, no, let me rather do that because then I can control what time I get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be relying on shipping and all of the stuff. Cool. Tuesday morning, I say, book the train. I think it was like 20, 30 pounds. Empty suitcase. Go there. Get to the train station. Uber's not working. Shit. Okay, cool. It's like maybe like 20 minutes from the train station. Get a taxi there. Take the taxi to the warehouse. Get the product. Put it in the suitcase. Boom. Go back, taxi, train, back to London. Cool. I'm in London. It's Tuesday. I have the product. Now I'm like, I'm researching embroidery. Embroidery, stickers, everything. Hey, these prices. Hey,
euros as well.
The pound is hectic. So now I'm like, let's just say, for example, I'm paying like 15, 20 rand to embroider something here.
Yeah.
That side, they say 15, 20 pounds. Yeah. So now you're like, maybe you're paying 15, 20 rand here. That time they're asking for 300 rand for the same thing. I'm like, no, this thing's not going to happen. Like, how? I'm like, okay, cool. I go on IG. Is anybody coming from London, from South Africa to London this week? I'm like, ish. Cool. One kid replies to me. Now this kid, he follows me. I don't follow him. I don't know him. He's like, I'm coming on Wednesday. I'm there on Thursday. I'm like,
your pop-up is Friday.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, sharp. I call my printers in Cape Town. I'm like, I need vinyl stickers, all of these things, that I'm going to heat press. Cool. They're like, cool. I'm like, I need this tomorrow by 12. This kid is taking the flight at like 5 or 6.
So you need to get everything by the time he gets to the airport.
Yeah. And it's not a lot, like it's stickers, so it's not, you know, like heavy or anything, just like a lot of, so I'm like, cool, done. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm looking at like, oh, how do I heat press this thing? I'm there, I'm on Facebook Marketplace. I find 2 heat press machines.
This is basic.
This is Wednesday, right? This thing is like near the airport, which is also like 45 minutes, an hour away. And I'm like calling a homie in London, I'm like, yo, I need you to collect this thing. Because it was mad cheap, the heat presses. It was on Marketplace. It was like maybe 500, 600 Rand, which was like crazy. This dude was just trying to get rid of it, all of that. So, okay, nice. So my homie goes, he collects it, pays the dude, brings it to me. I'm like, okay, shut. Me, I have the heat presses now. And it was crazy because it was like the hat press, and then it was a plate press. But also, now I need the t-shirt press.
Yes, the big one.
The big one. Because the plate one can kind of work, but it's small.
Depends on the print size.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm looking. Now they have like a Gumtree thing there, but everything is to rent. So
that's fine.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. Found the heat press. Got that one. So now I'm in this apartment in London, the way I'm staying. I have my studio is set up now. I have the product. I'm just waiting on the sheet
to sell at the sheet.
Yeah. This kid messages me Wednesday. Yo, man, my flight is delayed or canceled. I'm only going to come on Friday. I'm like, hey, no, this kid cannot be trusted. I'm like, no way. It's like, what? No, I'm chilling there. I'm like, wait, man, how do I get this thing? Because now the stickers are done.
Yeah.
Everything is ready to move.
Everything is ready but the t-shirts, essentially.
Yeah, the main thing, like shit. And okay, cool. I also have the venue. I got the venue in London. Everything is moving, you know. In the back end,
flyers out.
Bro, I'm promoting this thing in the back end, telling everybody, yo, let's go. Hey, so now it's still Wednesday. I'm like, shit, how do I make this thing work, bro? I see Young Stunners performing on Friday in London. I'm like, I hit him up, bro. I need you to bring this thing. He's like, yo, Uncle Zaid, I got you. Whatever you don't worry. I'm like, okay, shut. Now this thing is in Cape Town. He's flying out Thursday.
From Joburg.
This is in Cape Town and it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, call my dudes in Cape Town. I'm like, yo, I need you to take this thing to the airport cargo.
Yeah.
Take it to Josie. Boom. Lands in Josie, get a home to collect it, take it to Stan. Shut. Stan has it. I'm like, yo, bro, understand the importance of this thing. Like, yo, don't worry, Uncle Z, don't worry. Shut. So, bro, so now it's Thursday. Now, he tells me he's landing in the morning, but not what airport. So I'm like, okay, cool. I know he's landing. He's landing at like 6 a.m., right? 7 a.m., something like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Hit him up. He's like, yo. Also, he doesn't tell me that he's on the flight, right? So me, I'm also just thinking like, so now I wake up at like 7 a.m. the morning.
Yeah.
I see like 2 missed calls from him. I'm like, shit, he landed. He's here. Me, I'm an hour away from the airport.
The airport, you know.
Yeah, but that's the one that he's at.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, shit. I'm like, yo, wait for me. I'm on the way. No, he was waiting maybe like 2 hours for me to get
through. Real. Nah, that's real.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, I was like, shit, dog, I'm on my way. Like, you know? Because I'm taking the train. It's not up to me how fast the train goes, you know? I'm running to the station. I'm like, yo, fuck, I need to get this thing. Hey, I get the product. I get the stuff from him. Like, yo, shout out. Let's go. So I think he was going to Manchester the day. So I left him, got the stuff, came back to the hotel. Hey, now the work starts. I had another homie of mine, she's a dope homie. So he lives in Birmingham. He was like, nah, it's going to pull down for the pop-up. He's from Lagos. I met him in Nigeria. He lives that side now.
Yeah.
So he's like, nah, he's going to pull up on me. We're going to operate. That operating state, looking clean, everything's moving. Now, I think the pop-up's starting at 5, but now the whole day we're operating this thing, bro. So many, because we have to cut the things, move it, dog,
peel out.
and it's like, you can't do it too fast, like, yo, so you need to like, now we get there, it's like maybe 4 o'clock, I'm like, ish, dog, we're not even halfway done now. Now, let's take the machines there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool, sharp, we take it there. Now it's also cool because it's like a customization experience, all of the stuff. Dog, now we get there, the person that's meant to bring me the rails flops, she doesn't bring the rails. Now we're there, we're like, oh, how are we gonna do this stuff? We ended up doing like the tables, like just setting it up nicely, you know, like just making it look like that.
I'm curious, what about your Yoco?
Bro, the crazy thing is I had the Yoco.
That's crazy.
So now I have the Yoco there, and we were charging everything in rands.
Crazy.
So it's like
the price is skyrocketing right now.
Yeah, but it's crazy because it's like I have a post. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna charge you guys in rands because it's like, so I'm swiping 600 rand, whatever. They're like, and then next to it I put the pound price.
Yeah.
And then it was working.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's like, it was crazy because I was like, okay, cool, that's how I'm gonna move it.
Damn.
Because also it's like, bro, when you're there, it's like, it's inconvenient if you don't have a card, like a card machine.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, it's annoying when you don't have that there because now it's like, yo, PayPal me, do this, and it's like, dog, it's long.
Yeah, the ecosystem's always with the Yoco, you're tracking everything in real time.
Bro.
And you know when you're getting your money.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's like, if that's really the way to do it. Like if you're supposed to do it like that and charge it in rand, I don't know, like the legalities around it, but that's what we did and it worked. So I was like, okay, cool.
That's insane. I think the one part I was most excited about with this interview, we've been talking about it for months now, is just like this idea that you've created experiences, you've created sneaker exchange, you've created everything. Now you're creating Great Town, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's like, how do you find it in you to go reinvent yourself again? So, you know what, it's fine. Yeah. I do Great Town with this big partner. I do sneaker exchange with this big partner. But I'm still going back to my roots and pressing t-shirts, making sure my design makes it, making sure my community gets it at all times.
Yeah.
How do you find it in you? Because a lot of us, like, once I hit 100 likes, it's different.
Yeah. No, I hear you, bro. And it's crazy because it's actually a lot of work, bro. It's actually like, is a lot of work. Like you're putting on so many different hats. Like one day I'm at the office, one man cleaning, for example. The next day I'm there sitting and like trying to figure out like, okay, cool, how do we design these shoes? How do we do this? How do we move? Yeah, how do we, you know? So it's like, it's so many different hats that I'm constantly wearing. But I think in the end, it's like when it's your brand, your vision, your things that you're trying to bring to life, you obviously have to align with people that understand that. But it's like, no one is really going to get it like you. So you need to know that, okay, cool, you putting in those hours because eventually this thing is going to make sense to a space where it's like, yo, that's what it is. So even with Greytown, for example, like what the kind of ethos around Greytown is, I want people to experience what grade is in a day IRL format, you know? So it's like, grade is ultimately a very fun brand where it's like, okay, cool. So even grade, like the name, pays reference to the first grade, where you like learned a lot of fundamentals of life, and then from that first grade you elevate. So it's like the basic space, but then you level up with your community, which is your classroom. In your classroom, there's different people that are going to outshine you, kids that are going to fail, but ultimately that is your community. And you move with that community and elevate your community as you go. So it's like, for me, I also see grade as a platform that I want people to come through grade and outshine grade. But grade is like a space that people come through.
You're an incubator.
100%, you know? So whether it's like the product of grade is the uniform, you know, it's like, yo, when I'm wearing this product, this is what it makes me feel. Kind of like you're able to achieve anything you need to achieve, you know? So even within Great Town in itself, like, yo, that's a festival where it's like, yo, you're here to create, you're here to connect, you're here to network, all of those spaces, because it's the same thing I look with SXC, is that space has connected so many people. You know, whether we like go out there, it's like whether it's local brands, whether it's
sorry, sensitive.
Yeah.
But like my first sneaker exchange,
Yeah.
I got in there. I couldn't afford the ticket, but I got in there because I was like, yo, I can take pictures. Is it possible? So just to touch on this point that you guys have been an incubator for the culture and for the next generation of creators.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel looking back and hearing these stories about people experiencing what culture is, quote unquote, what creative entrepreneurship? Because at its core, sneaker exchange, everyone is selling their art, whether it's a performance or everyone selling their sneaker art or selling their products.
Nah, 100%. So like, it's kind of cool seeing that, you know, and like letting people know that like, yo, this space is here for you guys to connect, for you guys to create and all of those things. And ultimately it's like, cool, there is like a party aspect within it, but that's not the main kind of source and soul of the event. So, I mean, it's dope seeing it, and like, that's what we always look at, like, and now it's like, we look at a way of like, cool, how do we look at the next generation of youth also being able to feel that energy of connecting within that space. So it's always looking at like, yo, who resonates to these kids? And also like we brought a brand and Slick Sid Osman last year to Sneaker Exchange. So it's like a UK designer kid, but like a young kid. But bro, like the stuff that happened at the, like, it went crazy. Like people were like, because also this dude is like, I think he's like 22, somewhere there, you know. But in the UK, he's like, it's really like has a cult around his brand. So he'll put out something like, yo, meet me here now, and 500, 600 kids will rock up.
Yes, that's Tyson that energy.
100%, you know. And so we did like the pop-up at SXC. So SXC is the rebranded Sneaker Exchange, where it's like street X culture, where that all meets.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just trying to push SXC because Sneaker Exchange is just like everywhere. People know that name. But at the event, like people went crazy for the product, for seeing him. This kid is like, he's getting seated by Matthew Williams. He's like there, you know, in the spaces. So we also did something in Santon like the day after, and it was like, yeah, 500 kids, Mandela Square, just going crazy for like the product and shit. It was crazy. So that again is something that resonates to the youth, where it's like no other event is going to bring him to South Africa, one, or into a space where it's kind of like ahead of what's happening in South Africa.
Yes, you know, future focus.
100%. So that's always the way I look at a lot of things, and also look at it in the space of like, cool, by bringing him down here is going to cost us money. There's not a sponsor that is covering for his flights and all of that stuff. There's an overall event budget that, cool, if we book this big headline SA artist, it might be the same price and might bring us more value.
Yes,
but
immediate value, and also leverage our brands.
100%, you know, but what we're trying to do also is how do we connect this to a real like global space of like, yo, there's actually, I need to go there for this dude, you know. So that's always what I look at when we do things. Like there was the Stilo collab that we did. You familiar with Stilo, like Skepta's,
Yeah,
all of that stuff?
As a shoot the video.
100%, yeah. So we did the merch collab with them at Greytown. And again, with that, it's like, okay, cool. It's something that people don't necessarily see every day. It's like, yo, it's not something normal, you know, the market space as well. You know, it was like, oh, how do we really push the agenda?
How do you know an idea is working? Because like you have great town, you have great the brand,
Yeah.
then you have great the vision holistically for what the brand stands for, and then you still have SXC. How do you know what's worth taking the risk for at that time? Because a lot of people, a lot of us as creators, we look at ourselves as multidisciplinaries.
Yeah.
But it's a few of us in the business space understanding how far we can take it.
Yeah.
How do you know when to take that risk? How do you know when to break?
It's crazy, but I always look at it like, yo, a lot of the things is I want to create like real shit, you know, that is really going to impact individuals. So I always look at it two ways, right? One is by doing this collaboration or by doing this kind of partnership with kind of these people that play within the culture, it also elevates the level of grade, for example, because now it's like, yo, you have this relationship as well, you know? So it's like, whether I'm in London or Paris or these different spaces, it's like, yo, we did this with this brand in South Africa. So that also allows more doors to open because people are looking at your kind of resume of like, okay, cool, you know, these guys are doing things, you know? And then two, for me, it's, again, the thing of like, giving kids locally something new and something fresh, because if we go out into a lot of spaces, it's the same thing that's happening. It's the same lineups that are constantly out there. It's very party focused, you know, or big brand focus where it's like, cool, this brand is coming down with this artist, and you land there and everything is just, yo, drink this product, do this, do that, like, you know, in this like brand space. So, I mean, I think it's a lot of risk, but for me, it's like, it's a lot of gut feelings. And like, even now there's like someone that we're trying to bring down to Greytown. And right now I don't have the money to do it, but I know, I'm like, yo, this thing needs to happen. So it's like trying to figure out, and like, you don't want to not do it because you know the value that it can mean if you do it. You see what I'm saying? But you need to see how to make this thing come alive. So it's like, yo, it's always like touch and go, having conversations like, yo, guys, this is what I'm trying to do. And then it's like half the time they don't listen, like brands and all of those spaces, they don't understand it because they're not playing in culture. They trying to tap into culture. So they like an outsider, like, yo, okay, cool. How do we do this? And like, also, how do you justify the ROI on that? Whereas you can, again, spend the same money and get this big local artist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's been a while since I felt like all my questions are answered. Even the back end answers, like answered it, but hasn't about to ask the question. But my most important question: what's your word to the youth?
I think it's like, so it's like a few things, right? One is you have to start. Like, that's always, I think what people say is like, yo, you really have to start, because wherever you start, you're going to find ways to elevate and a lot of learnings from that. Two, it's like my DMs are full of people like, yo, every time I post something, yo, I want to model, I want to do this, I want to do that. That's not really the way of doing it. It's like, yo, OG, put me off. It's like, bro, why? Why do you feel entitled for me to put you on? You know, then like the worst is like, you'll see those things. This person wouldn't even be following you. You're like, yo, man, like, have some respect, you know? Let's start there. But I think like the main thing in all of the spaces, and it's like, I think the way to really go about it is start somewhere, let that work really translate into something meaningful. But you also need to find yourself before you know, like, you need to know, okay, cool, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to go about it. And then it's like, okay, cool. Once you have some type of like track record, then it's like, yo, man, I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Okay, cool. I see what you're doing. Like, I can feel that I can contribute to this in this way. But it's just like reaching out and saying, yo, man, this is what I am. This is what I want to do. It's like, you know, come into spaces, come into events, come into like all of these spaces, because at the same light, it's like, if, let's say, for example, we're doing a pop-up or something, and someone comes up to me like, yo, man, this is what I do. I'm going to give that kid 2 minutes or whatever, you know, to chat. But if I'm looking at a DM, it's like, okay, cool. So be in spaces where people are. Always try and research. I'm like, okay, cool. I need to be in this space at this time because X, Y, and Z might be there. So like, because for me, even currently, it's like, yo, I'm looking at like events and stuff where I'm like, shit, I might have to spend money to go to this space. But in that space, I can now pitch myself to people that may understand, or maybe there's fashion buyers in that space. So that's why it's of importance for me to be there. So it's like, always just look at like cool spaces where kind of culture is. So whether it's Greytown, whether it's MK doing the MX Day stuff, you know there's gonna be people in those spaces.
That's crazy.
You feel me? I might hit there just now. But all of these kind of cultural type spaces, if that's what you're trying to do, because you're gonna meet people in these spaces.
Yes.
And also, don't be scared to go up to someone and be like, yo, man, like, you know, pitch yourself. Because it's like, yo, you're in this room where that person is. It's the craziest thing. It's like, and often though, because it's crazy, because I see it from both lights, right? I'll see kids coming up to me and like almost intimidated to come speak to me. But then I'll be in spaces where I'm also intimidated to go speak to that dude.
That's Jeff Staples.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, It's like, you know, I was at the Amiri show, Light Flex, you know? You know, with Lucanio, dog. And it was crazy because now I'm chilling there. Now I'm chilling, I see Ghana there.
Like, hey, there's Ghana, boy. I'm with a Nazi. We share. I'm like, ish, that's Ghana. Now I'm like, yo, also, what do I have to tell Ghana? You know, like...
So find your value as
You
well.
know, like, ish. So now I peep Ghana, I leave him. I just take a picture from afar. I'm like, hey, Ghana's here. Now, after the show, whatever, I see Ghana again. Now he's walking out. It's a lot chill. The space has cooled down. And like, yo, I don't even know what I said, but like, I had like maybe a minute or 2 minute conversation with him, which was crazy. Because it was like, yo, I'm from South Africa. Oh shit, where in South Africa are you from? I've been to Joburg. And then like, the boys that he was with also got into the conversation. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, like, then it's like, okay, cool. You know, yeah, you're not really in that space to really pitch yourself like that, but it's a start. Now, if I see Ghana somewhere else, there's a point to go back to.
Yes.
Whether he remembers it or not.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, man, I was at the Amiri show. I was there. And it's like already the Amiri show. You're like, oh, there's like a level of like, not everyone is here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like...
You must be important also to be...
You know what I'm
to
saying?
deal with.
100%. So then it's like, okay, cool. Like, there's a point to go back to of like the next time. So it's like, bro, that was crazy because also there was the one time I met Virgil.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. bro. And this thing was crazy because I was in LA or Long Beach. It was the Agenda Festival that happened. I think it was like 2017.
Damn, you've been to the Agenda Fest.
Yeah, it was like one of the last ones that,
You're like a scholar
that happened.
of everything before you're creative.
I mean, it's research, you know, you go into these spaces because, bro, it was crazy. Like, I remember there, it's like Nikki Diamonds is there, Jeff Staple is there, all of these like streetwear icons or whatever, like are in the space.
Into one room.
Bro, 100%. So now I remember I'm chilling, and now it's like maybe day 2 or something of this thing. I leave the space, I went to like the Nike outlet. Everywhere I go, I try to go to the outlets, you know, I just peep the vibe. I'm like, I'm there, I'm chilling. I'm like, no, you know what? Let me go back. I'm tired, but I'm like, you know what? Let me go back. I'm walking. I'm like, hey, I see IB and Jasper. I'm like, yo, that's also someone that I always looked up to in the space of like the streetwear shit. Always like going, like running behind Kanye type shit, you know? So I'm like, yo, I went up to him. I was like, yo, Jasper, something like that. He's like, the fuck are you? Like, very like, I'm like, oh shit.
Just say, wow.
Yo, I'm like, yo, man, relax. I'm from South Africa. Now I'm rambling. I have my lap. I'm tired also. I'm like, yo, man, I got nothing to lose here. I'm rambling. I'm like, yo, man, I want to get you to South Africa. This is what we do. Da. I pull out my laptop. I show him the Sneak Exchange video. We had just, I think it was like April the same year or something. Like a few months prior, we did the Sneak Exchange in Cape Town. When we brought Daily Paper, we brought Ricky, and
the collab.
Yeah, like all of that spaces. That was when DP did the Puma collab.
Yeah.
And I'm showing him the video of the event, but now he sees like the energy and all of the stuff within that space. And he like, there's a video like of in the after movie of Ricky performing and shit. And it's like, yo, where is this? What's going? Like, he was just amazed of that whole video.
R.I.P.
Yeah, fully. So now I'm showing him the video. He's like, yo, man, he has shoes dropping with Diamond Supply. You know, maybe speak to Diamond. Maybe there's a way of doing something. And yeah, I'm gonna speak to them. He gives me his email address, all of that stuff. I'm like, okay, dope. You know, I'm nice. I'm like, yo, can we take a picture? Me, I'm in this moment of him. So I turn around. First person I see, I'm like, yo, man, do you mind taking a picture? He tells me, yo, don't ask him to take a picture. I look up, I'm like, oh shit, I just asked Virgil to take a picture of me and IB.
Man.
Now I'm like, oh
on
shit, bro, like what? So then like even in that space, I was just like it's like you can't even go back. You know, like I was just like, okay, cool, I got my picture, someone else took. Then I look at the whole setting, everyone is there. The whole gang is there. I'm like, oh shit, here's Don, here's everyone. I'm like, hey, let me just leave. I'm like, it's bigger than me.
Yeah.
But it was crazy, like in those spaces. And that's the thing of being in those rooms, being present where people are. because you know you're going into the space. It's up to you to connect with people. And that has to start at a smaller scale, because then you'll know how to kind of practice and pitch into those spaces on the go. Because it's like, yo, also if that was set up, it's like it's gonna be a lot different than just being on the go, where it's like, yo, this is what I am, this is who I am, da 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 da, and keep it moving. So I mean, I think, yeah, it's always just being in those spaces and trying to find those spaces as much as possible.
Yeah. Zaid Osman, why don't you tend to beer? Brought to you by the brave folks and Yoco. And so beautiful.
Oh, wait.
Oh, it's been a minute. Oh, this is beautiful. I want to podcast again. Thank you so much.
Nah, love.